These are complicated times for the Phoenix Suns, no doubt. Every single game is of utmost importance for them, given where they are in the standings. You've got the Bradley Beal situation, played very, very well coming off the bench last night. It was good to see him playing with that energy and not take any of this, at least on the court, personally. But then reiterating Gambo after the game that he's got a no-trade clause, and if the Suns want to move him, he's got the power to veto absolutely everything. You got the Brian Windhorst soundbite that Mitch just played from First Take this morning, in which he said the Suns only benched him because they're trying to make him unhappy, so he will get moved. Devin Booker's struggles, we've talked about that. A major NBA analyst is talking about how it's time for the Suns to blow this thing up. In the midst of it, we're looking for a little bit of comfort, and we kind of found it last night. Not only the fact that they won the game, but that they relied very heavily on their rookies to do so. It might be the happiest thing I got out of last night's game outside of the win itself, was to see those two kids on the floor, and also Iguodala and Ryan Dunn, playing late, playing well, and contributing to a win. It felt really good to see it.
Yeah, the new kids on the block.
Yes, that's what they. I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah. I think it was a terrific performance by both of those guys. I thought they both played extremely well. I loved seeing it. As I mentioned earlier, if Joel Embiid plays in that game, Oso's not going to have more minutes than both Nurkic and Plumlee, but he did end up with more minutes than those guys because they were able to play that way. Because Embiid wasn't there. I thought Ryan Dunn was terrific. I thought Oso was sensational. I think this is a shot in the arm that this team needed. It probably, should have led to more wins. And I listen, James Jones did a good job drafting these guys. And Mike Budenholzer has done a pretty good job of playing them. He's played these guys. You can't say he hasn't. But now I think their roles are about to expand even more, especially with Dunn starting and Beal coming off the bench, and you see what Oso can give you. This team needs young talent going forward. I don't know what the future holds. I mean, I don't know I don't know if Durant's going to be here in 2 years. I don't know if Booker's going to be here in 2 years. I don't know. I doubt Beal's going to be here in 2 years. But so you got to have some young talent in the system. These are two young, talented players that they have that they could build a future foundation around.
Yeah, are they future stars in this league? I think that's taking it a bit far. But you're right. They certainly don't have to be.
I'm done with the star thing, by the way, if this doesn't work. I'm done with it. Just give me one great player and build a team around him. Give me Luka and build around him. Give me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, build around him. Give me Lou Dort.
I laugh, but you're right. The idea of compiling a bunch of superstars, that was one of the critiques of the Suns. I think we talked about it late last week. Somebody said the Suns are trying to build a team the way you used to build a team, and that's not how you build a team anymore. It's not, acquire as many superstars as you can, and it's not with a big two or it's not with a big three. It's through depth and through positionless basketball and a bunch of guys who can do a bunch of different things and all defend and all hit threes, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe that's the path that ultimately the Suns will have to rebuild themselves in when they decide this isn't working. I think for me, and I hear what you're saying, we needed – and not maybe need is the wrong word. We've seen this organization draft well. They drafted Mikal Bridges well. They drafted Cam Johnson well. But it's been a while, it's been a while since we've seen them go into the draft, confidently pluck talent out of the draft and use it in a way that helps them win basketball games. It's nice to see them do it because at some point they're going to have to rely on that muscle to win basketball games for them, right? They're going to have to rely on that part of their front office to win basketball games for them. And it's nice to see that muscle is still kind of in shape, right? And toned up a little bit, and that it hasn't gone flabby because it hasn't been used the last few years. They're flexing a little bit with their ability to evaluate players in the draft with how these two have turned out.
And listen, if they ever decided to blow it up, they would end up with draft picks. You're not that's what you would do. You would get draft picks back. So but right now, the only pick you have complete control over that's your own is 2031. The Phoenix Suns will not have a draft pick this year. I don't have to worry about going on vacation in 2025 and worrying about the Suns
to your
draft.
Heart's content, Gambo.
I stayed up to 5 in the morning in Oslo, Norway, to get you guys all the information on how that trade broke down because nobody knew that they had that extra pick with the, that was involved in the deal to move down with Dunn and then get Oso. But when they don't have a draft pick in 2000. Now next year they have a draft pick, but it's 3 other teams
Swapped
control
out.
it before you do.
Yeah, right.
And then the next year you have, so the next year you don't have a draft pick. So 25 no pick, 26 pick, 27 no pick. So they don't have control of any of their picks until 2031, which is why, to me, that pick is just so damn valuable, and I don't want to give it up.
Yeah, no, and I get it, and I don't. If they do give it up, if they do reach one more time for that aging superstar and thinking, okay, Bradley Beal wasn't the guy, but we know Jimmy Butler is going to be the guy. We know he's going to be the one who makes the difference. Well, then maybe they'll do that because that's been Matt Ishbia's DNA since he took over the team. Maybe he doesn't have that not in him. Maybe he's incapable of not being that kind of owner. Or maybe he steps back and says, you know what, we can't do that right now. We can't do that again. We have to think about the future. But you're right. When that day comes, I think the Jalen Smith draft choice over Tyrese Halliburton left a lot of us wondering, oh boy, do they know how to do this? Like do they, when it comes to young player evaluation in the draft, they screwed that one up so badly. Do they know how to do this? And seeing Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro play well is kind of a nice validation. Hey, they do, right? Like they can still draft guys and have them contribute. They did it with Mikal. They did it with Cam. They've had success at this because at some point, I don't know if they blow it up now, if they blow it up a year from now, if it's 2 years from now, at some point you're 100% correct. It's going to be about the draft picks, and it's going to be about their reliance on nailing those draft picks, and they're going to have to be really, really good at it because that whatever the next wave is going to be, it's probably going to be rooted in that.
Yeah, and if you do decide to blow it up, like Hollinger mentioned in that piece, you're going to want to be bad for a little bit. And I know it sucks, but the plan that Ryan McDonough had was we're going to take it on the chin for a few years. We're going to end up with the number 1 pick. They did with DeAndre Ayton. They got Mikal. They got good players, some, but then some were just disasters. Like they failed on Jonathan Bender, and they failed on Josh Jackson, and they failed on Alex Len, and they failed on who was the other guy? So it was
Better, Marquise Chris.
Marquise Chris. There you go. Marquise Chris. So they failed too many times. Like they were in a great position and they failed. But you want to be if you're going to start over and you're going to get rid of Durant, you're going to get rid of Booker, you're going to take it on the chin for a few years. You don't want to go out and go get Rodney Rogers and Tony Delk like what Jerry Colangelo did, just try to be the 8th seed and get in the playoffs. You're going to want to be bad and be in the lottery.
Yeah, and this is why, and I know most people listening know this. This is why Houston's trade around the draft to get some of the Suns' draft picks from the Brooklyn Nets was so genius of the Houston Rockets because basically they can say to the Suns, hey, we've got part of your draft, and if you want it back, if you want to get yourself the incentive back of being a bad basketball team and being rewarded for that, we have some of your drafts. Let's talk. Let's talk about some of your guys so we can give you some of your draft back, so we can give you some of your power back in terms of being bad for a reason and kind of controlling that, not having to give up all your picks. That's why I think that's why everybody thinks they did it.
The Thompson kid, this is what I was told yesterday. If the Suns ever go to Houston, you're talking about getting back your picks and getting a player like Amen Thompson. He was the 4th overall pick for Houston in 2023. He's only 21 years old. He's only 21. He's a 6'7" wing, which with incredible talent. I mean, 23 points against the Lakers the last time he played in a 119-115 win. I think he got hurt, but that's the type of kid that you would get. You'd get back a player like Thompson, and you get back a bunch of draft picks, and you'd have something to try to build with.
Thanks for watching Burns Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.